Hello, hello. So today I was going to do the tag that Sarah over at Ginger Peachy Pens posted. So this was the rainbow tag, where you choose your favorite colors kind of out of the rainbow. So I found it really hard. I love so many different inks, and I also love so many from the same category. Like I really love dusty pinks, and I love browns and sepias and things like that. So I just kind of narrowed it down, but I also went ahead and had to do two different piles. So this first one here is the ones that I use all the time and that I love, and they're a little more subdued. And then these are colors that I really love to look at and also use, but I don't use as much. But I wanted to show both of them because I am a lover of color, and I just couldn't leave some of these out without saying how much I love them. Okay, so let's just go through each one and we'll have a look. Okay, so the first color I chose are browns. So the one that I use a lot of in my actual everyday writing is Monteverde Moonstone. I really love this color. It is a beautiful, warm, deep, rich brown, and is just really chocolatey and yummy, and it's just a really good writer. Monteverde inks are really quite good. And then the other brown I chose was Diamine Cocoa Shimmer. Now this was the first shimmer ink that I ever got, and I just fell in love with it instantly. I think if you've never tried shimmers before and then you try it and it works, like if you have it in like a medium nib and it just writes really beautifully like this one does, it's just such a lovely experience, and it's just such a glitzy, delicious, rich ink, so I couldn't leave that one out. So they're my browns. Next are my yellowy golds. So I don't tend to use really bright yellows at all. I use a lot of sort of mustardy yellowy golds, and I would have to say that Robidosta African Gold has become my new favorite. It is such a beautiful shader. It just has this gorgeous undertone of a little bit of a cool undertone with a bit of green maybe, but it also just writes really, really well. It's absolutely beautiful. I have this in my Kaweco with a medium nib, and I've really been enjoying it. And then in the inks I don't use all the time but love is this Roy and Klingner Carmen. So this is sort of an orange leaning yellow, but it is really legible. It writes really, really well. I've used it for sketching as well as writing like whole pages of text, and it is just a really good ink. None of these sketch inks really shade very well. They're quite flat, but they're also really consistent. So I love this whole line of inks, but this yellowy orangey color is one of my favorites. So in the red category, I have chosen more of a sort of autumny orangey red here. I don't tend to write a lot with reds, and actually I watched a Currently Inked recently. I think it was Kristen from Life Inspires Design. She made a really great point that she was using a red and it just felt really aggressive when she was reading it back. She didn't really enjoy reading it back. She was getting anxiety from it. She said it kind of reminded her of when she would get a paperback and it would have a bunch of corrections on it from the teacher, and it just gave her anxiety. And I'm not sure that I link it to that, but I just find it such an aggressive color that I find it hard to write like a whole page of text with it. So this is my go-to reddish orange, burnt orange color, Ancient Copper. I think it's probably one of my favorite inks of all time. Again, I love Diamine inks, and this is a brilliant writer. It's just such a beautiful color. It shades really well, so I couldn't leave that one out. And then I do have a couple of reds in my collection. This is a Sailor Shikiori Yodokai, and this is sort of a pinky red color that has this gorgeous like greenish sheen on it. And this is a delightful color. Again, I probably wouldn't write a whole page of text with it, but as far as reds go, this is probably my favorite red that I own. Now we're into the dusty pinks for my everyday writers, and I had to choose Colorverse Brunch Date. This was one of the first ink samples I ever got, and I absolutely loved it. And although I keep telling myself I'm on the hunt for another dusty pink, this is really the one that I keep coming back to. I would actually really like to try, I think it's Laban Aphrodite. I think that one would be a really beautiful one, and also White Rabbit, but for now this is my go-to beautiful dusty pink color. And then for the non-everyday writers, I had to choose Wearingeul, an Atlas Station exclusive. Twelfth Night, because this is just delightful. It's all that shimmer in it. It's a gorgeous sort of cool leaning pink, and I just really love it. And because I love dusty pinky browns, I also wanted to put this one in, which is the Birmingham Pen Co Weathered Brick. I got a sample from my pen friend Rachel and have been using this a lot. So I put that in as kind of my sort of transition into the purples. And then for the bright, non-everyday riders, I put in Diamine Claret, because it is just a really vibrant pink with a bit of shading, and it's just, it goes from this sort of deep color into this really kind of neon-y pinky purple color. So it's just a really lovely color. So I wanted to add that in my crazy pile. And then for purples, I chose Diamine Amazing Amethyst. And this is just a beautiful rider. It's a deep purple. When you have it in a finer nib, you can see the color a lot more, kind of like in this shading here, but a wetter nib shows a nice dark purple, which is sort of a little bit muted, and it's beautiful. And then for my bright piles that I just love the color of, I chose Sailor Shikiori Fujisugata. And this is a really sort of blue leaning purple with a little bit of shading in there, different sort of colors coming out. You can see a lot more blue when it's less saturated. It has a little bit of like a blue halo on it. It's just a really delightful color. Okay, onto the blues. So I don't tend to use blue a lot, but I really love this Prussian blue. So Prussian blue is one of my first watercolor paints that I started using and really fell in love with. I kind of transitioned more over into a Payne's Grey, but I still have a soft spot for Prussian blue, and this Diamine Prussian blue is just a beautiful rider. It's very consistent. It doesn't have a ton of shading, but it is a really nice, interesting ink with a bit of a red sheen if you saturate it much. But I don't tend to see that when I'm writing. It's mostly just this sort of grayish blue, which is really lovely. And for my crazy pile, I chose Birmingham Pen Co Ice Rink. This is another sample that Rachel sent me, and it is just, I kind of surprised myself at how much I like it. I think it's because of that sheen as well, and it's an amazing shader, and it just has, I don't know, such a vibrancy and exciting feel to it. I haven't actually inked up a pen with this yet, but I would love to see how much variation you get in the color, and it's just a really delightful, rich blue. And then for my teals, I chose Colorverse Rainy Day for my everyday riders. This is just a lovely subdued blue. It is, I kind of always thought it was similar to Prussian blue, but it definitely has a bit more of a tealy lean. But yeah, beautiful desaturated tealish blue that I love. And for the bright ones, I chose Tumultuous Tides by Ferris Wheel Press. And this one is just crazy beautiful. I have it in their Tumultuous Tides carousel pen, and it writes really consistently. It's just a vibrant color. Again, that shimmer just adds the next level to it. Then for my greens, I chose Ho and Klingner Emma. So this is another sketch ink. Again, not much shading to it, not much interest, but it is a wonderful journal color. You can read pages and pages of this color. It's a gorgeous sort of flat olive green, great for sketching too, and it's just been a consistent writer. I always have a Platinum Meteor or Shooting Star pen inked up with this, and it's just a really lovely writer. And then for the other pile, I chose Robert Oster Jade, which is this beautiful, vibrant green, gorgeous shading, really lovely. Again, I haven't inked up a pen in this. I'm not sure if it would be too overwhelming with that sort of shading that goes on, but I just absolutely love this color. It's so beautiful. And then the last category, I did grays and blacks. So I chose Diamine Grey Skies No More for this, and this is a Cult Pens exclusive ink, I believe. I was going to choose Diamine Earl Grey, but that leans a little more purple than a grey, and I don't know, I'm just really loving this really subtle color right now. Yeah, I had my TWSBI ALR inked up in this, and it's just really wet writer. It's absolutely beautiful, and I love the variation on here. You don't see a ton of it in the writing, but it is a really interesting color. And then finally, I chose Shiny Black from Colorverse for my black. because it has a whole ton of bling in it and it's just a beautiful, beautiful rider. So here are all the colors that I chose. This first row are the ones that I kind of use as everyday riders, and then these are the other colors that I absolutely love but don't tend to use as much as I should probably. I tend to go for more the subdued colors. But yeah, so feel free to tag me if you end up doing one as well, and also make sure to tag Sarah from Ginger Peachy Pens, who created this tag. I look forward to seeing your collection, and let me know down below if you don't make a video what colors are your favorites so I can check them out too. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.